Anything to do with Jubegi, Shundegi, and it's a good Suchachi. And it Toma Delia, Nabatama Kushan, the Tone, Pegi Gachibu Galuda, the Diolia, and Adi Galuda Dusi, Pironasi Dushi. Kuchang Tone, Nangaranzo, Pimige Langi, She, Tuju Yande, Danana, Tuju Yande. ki sunde chidi chube sozo de islam na ne sunde na na shwe
Tering pyoge gyalsal hasar chusum pyomi che pyojo gyama ki sunte la sebe taze te ngogu ki legül shigya chewa degu chung warden gyama ki tagne or pyomi tita tu se sok shorba tha pyomi timtun ki shung gande potang tha te jesu tenke pyomi ti ge zam senche tu gyurne pyogi gyalkap logu nang ngar chung mao be munna tha nyenta che ki tukap shila tongle chegu chung yue ba tuten zego te gyune lukse shorwe pao namla zente ngeme tha gyashung ki senun narche lang nya shish mishum be shilu munda namla 동세 냠게 주신이요 레베 밀로 tukjure tu ringta 학바르투 단대 야나기 왕지 바체 페 미리 짬에 당규we 미규 대규 메베 중하 미리 제투 둔자기 뒤제 땡준 세와타네 페 미리기 모 도도 쏘데 야리 임베 뒤제 생게타 대규 낭데 중하 직도 규르규 제네 페미 최타 라와 촉대 겸바 롭타 젠도 생규 겔카 지스 게이 캡틴 세르와 니엔테 롭타타 지소 텔 페리 롭녜 타 귤체라 초용네 곡는 페기 리룽 미네소타 페리 빈다 망부 시우시페샤 안상마라 두제셰 슈엔이 딘냠도 땅아주 숨주 투젠디 개침부 임바 게셰 참메기 켄기 요레 아니 다리데 페와 데라 삼지다 냠도라 땅아주 야르부 체기 깔랍 다 페미 딕조기 깔랍 아주 주비아디 개침부 임바 참메 켄기 요레 냠도라 아주 직티기 미바디 가두이네 야구 임바다 슉침부 요와 켄기 요레 냠도라 파마다 아니 몰라 창마라 소소 롭주 소소 보고 벤조라 롭종다 롭종테야 벤조라 토나 항상 테로치오도 쉬어요 보잖아
야 산에 거기 주변 저기 근데 쓰리 양전에 아니 숨쉬시 나로 마시기
Hello? Today, we solemnly commemorate this unwavering determination, immense courage, and profound sacrifices made by Tibet martyrs who have been giving everything, including their precious lives, for the cause of Tibet, its people, and its rich cultural heritage. We stand in solidarity with our Tibetan brothers and sisters inside Tibet, who continue to endure relentless oppression under the repressive policies of the Chinese Communist Party. As we observe this monumentous occasion, we also mourn the devastating earthquake that struck Dingri in Tibet at the beginning of this year, causing significant loss of the life and destruction of property. Our deepest condolences go to the affected families, We also offer our profound respect and prayer for Gyalo Thunduk, former chairman of the Tibetan government in exile, and elder brother of His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama, who passed away during this critical period in the Tibet's political struggle. We pray for his swift rebirth and extend our heartfelt solidarity to his bereaved family. This day marks a painful and tragic chapter in Tibetan history, one of the Tibetans will never forget. It is the 66th anniversary of the Chinese Communist regime's illegal violent invasion of Tibet. Since then, both the Tibetan government and its people have endured decades of systematic oppression, terror, repression under Beijing's rule. On March 10, 1959, Tibetan uncovered the sinister plot by the Chinese authorities to assassinate His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama under the pretext of inviting him in the theatrical show at the Chinese military camp. In response, tens and thousands of Tibetans from all three traditional regions of Tibet voluntarily, resolutely gathered in the Noberlinga to protect His Holiness. While ensuring his safety, they took into the streets to fight for Tibet's sovereignty and independence, chanting the slogans such as "Long live His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama," "Free Tibet," and "China, get out of Tibet." This historic uprising was met with the brutal violence as the Chinese armed forces massacred unarmed Tibetan civilians and tightened their grip on Tibet. Since that fateful day, March 10th has remained a deep symbolic of the day of resistance and resilience for Tibetans worldwide. A day of remembrance, unity, and unwavering commitment to the Tibetan struggle until Tibet regains its rightful freedom. Since 1949, the Chinese Communist regime has systematically invaded the Tibetan regions, Dode, Dome, U-Tsang, subjecting Tibet to decades of exploitation, destruction, and repression. To this day, Beijing continues its relentless extraction of minerals from Tibet, sacred mountain, large-scale deforestation, river diversion, and the construction of massive dams across the plateau. Entire ancestral villages and monasteries have been forcibly relocated, and Tibet's environment suffers severe degradation. In its attempt to systematically erase Tibetan identity, the Chinese government has aggressively suppressed the Tibetan language, destroying monasteries, and targeted monks who have played a vital role in preserving Tibetan culture. Many have been abruptly arrested, imprisoned, and even disappeared through the illegitimate means. Furthermore, the Chinese government has seized the control of Tibetan educational institutions such as Rages Sherig Norbu School, imposed strict quotas on monks and monasteries, expelled them, and enforced indoctrination under the guise of patriotic education. Tibetan university students are denied the rights to take examination in their own language, and graduation theses must be written in Chinese. Government employees face outrageous prohibitions against participating in religion activities. Meanwhile, Tibetan children are forcibly separated from their families and placed in colonial-style boarding schools designed to erode their heritage and instill loyalty to the Communist Party. China targets regions such as Arunachal Pradesh, Ladakh, and South China Sea, reflecting its border expansion and ambition. Online influential Tibetan voices are systematically censored, and platforms for free expression are suppressed. Even in times of humanitarian crisis, such as the recent earthquake in Dongri, China, deliberately obstructing aid to Tibetan areas, deepening the suffering of those in need under those oppressive policies, 169 Tibetans have resorted to suffering in those disparate acts of self-immolation, sacrificing their life in a powerful protest in defending Tibetan's nation, people, and cultural identity. Its unrelenting oppression stands as a stark testament in the severe human rights crisis in Tibet, inflicting profound and lasting harm in Tibetans and their identity. The continued survival of the Tibetan cause and the preservation of Tibetan identity on the global stage can be attributed to the profound wisdom, compassion, and visionary leadership by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, and the unparalleled leader of the Tibetan people. Under his guidance, both governmental and non-governmental Tibetan people, under Tibetan organizations, along the international government and support, have undertaken critical initiative to advance the Tibetan cause. The United States has reaffirmed its commitment to Tibet through the legislative measures such as the Resolve Tibetan Act of 2024. Additionally, international non-governmental organizations and global community have demonstrated unwavering solidarity in the support of Tibet's struggle. We are deeply grateful for these efforts and remain hopeful that until a just resolution to Tibet issue is achieved, the international community will continue to stand in defense of Tibetan religion, culture, and fundamental freedom. We call upon the international community to remain vigilant and extend steadfast support to confront the ongoing human rights crisis in Tibet. At this pivotal moment of the global political transformation, it is imperative that we rise above the internal division and remain resolute in our collective pursuit of justice. The preservation of Tibetan unique tradition, language, and moral values is not only a responsibility, but a necessity. Now more than ever, both governmental and non-governmental organizations must align with their effort and strengthen their unity and intensify their commitment to the Tibetan cause. It is imperative that every Tibetan actively participate and support in initiatives and campaigns that fortify our struggle. In accordance with the guidance of His Holiness the Dalai Lama, we must reinforce the unity of Tibetan's 3 provinces, consolidate our collective strength, and uphold our solemn pledge to unity. This year, as we celebrate His Holiness the Great 14th Dalai Lama's 90th birthday, we honor His Holiness' lifelong dedication. We must stand firm, unwavering in our commitment and unity in purpose. The future of Tibet depends on our determination, and we must forge ahead with courage, conviction, and unbreakable spirit. We're going to be hosting a prayer for the martyrs in Tibet. It'll be at the Gudugomba, and it'll be at 6 p.m. Pegalo, pegalo, pegalo. Good to know.
Sunday shunu gigune chen yanjala tuji che shugi di jedele ya lubdu rawan soba lubdu rawan soba ki chozo kunga shera blani sunje nalu na shugi. Next we have a statement from Kunga Sherap, President Kunga Sherap from SFT Minnesota.
On March 10th, 1959, our heroic and brave efforts from our ancestors were taken to the streets of Lhasa, outside the Butla Palace, to rise against China's illegal invasion and occupation of our homeland and to ensure the successful escape of Dalai Lama into exile. Today, 66 years later, on the same day, we gather here to honor them. As Tibetans in exile, it is our duty to speak up for those who are voiceless, whose cries are stifled by China, and those whose acts or bravery are met with brutal repression. To the world, we remind you that the fight for Tibet is not just one for land, but for every person who believes in the value of human rights. The plight of Tibet speaks to a global fight for justice, freedom, and self-determination. China's occupation of Tibet is not an isolated case. It mirrors the oppression of Uyghurs, Southern Mongolians, Hong Kongers, the Taiwanese, and many others. My grandparents fled from Tibet at the same age or even younger than I am today. When I ask my Bobo about Tibet, I see tears start to form in his eyes when he talks about the life he once lived, when he attended school, walked near the beautiful bodies of water, and smelled the fresh air, all of which was robbed from him when China invaded Tibet and murdered tens of thousands of Tibetans. As seen in the crackdown of Tibetan institutions and cultural practices, the establishment of colonial boarding schools, the usage of DNA collection samples, and many other inhumane tactics, the Chinese government is actively attempting to erase our identity as Tibetans. China silences and blacks out all media and news from inside Tibet, even trying to retitle our homeland as Xizang. All their efforts, which cost them millions, if not billions of dollars, show their fear of what we Tibetans have, the undeniable and unyielding truth. Our successes in recent history, including Thermo Fisher, one of the largest biotech companies in the world, cutting all sales to China and pulling out of Tibet after our efforts, the passage of the Resolve Tibet Act after lobbying, and many other victories prove that we are in an important period of time and that if we play our card right, freedom can be achieved for Tibet. This is a battle that we can win. Our Tibetan spirit is unwavering, even in the face of our oppressors. They can burn our book, but they cannot extinguish the truth. They can imprison our people, but they cannot chain our determination. As long as there is injustice inside Tibet, there will be people fighting for freedom. And as long as there's oppression, there will be resistance. And to be successful in this resistance, we must be united. In January, when Tibet was struck by a devastating nearly 8 magnitude earthquake, we saw Tibetans from all across Tibet gather to Dingri and surrounding areas to support our brothers and sisters to recover from this catastrophic event. Now look around you now. In this crowd, there are many different people here at different points in our lives, different backgrounds, who carry different stories. Some kids missed school today to attend. Adults have taken off work, and even grandparents who put strain on their body to attend here today. But what connects us all is our identity as Tibetans and our commitment to fighting for our homeland. Our elders, likely the last who have lived in Tibet before occupation, are aging, and China continues their efforts to erase our name. We, as Tibetans, cannot let this happen, and we must keep Tibet alive. With the momentum that we have already created, now is the time that we rise for Tibet. Since China sent us into exile in 1959, many generations have been trying to regain our independence. We are not the first to chant, "Free Tibet," or "China out of Tibet now." But what we can do is fight to be the last generation to say it. Through our collective and united efforts as Tibetans and our unyielding truth, we can do what must be done to regain our independence. Because Tibet must be free. Now, Soma, free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! China out of Tibet now! China out of Tibet now! Thank you.
Sane look around so the Chozo Kungala ya Tuchi Shugi. The jelly ya Marazo Umaylam Gishinu to Sane Umaylam Gishinu to Jogi and the Shugi Tidupa. Nanse Taralalia Tuchis Sutish Naruna Shugi. Next we have statement from the board member of Youth of Umaylam, Nanse Tarala.
Dash the naming Latin's train and I youth for Umaylam advocacy ambassador. On naming Nang Starayi, I am Youth for Umaylam's media ambassador. Today we gather all over the world to commemorate the 65th anniversary of Tibetan Uprising Day, a day that marks the unwavering courage of the Tibetan people who stood up against oppression on March 10, 1959. On this day in 1959, thousands of Tibetans in Lhasa rose up against the Chinese occupation, risking their lives to protect their land, their culture, and their leader, His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. As we remember the brave men and women who stood on the front lines of the struggle, we also honor the resilience of our community, those who have carried forward the fight for justice through peaceful means. Whether through political advocacy, education, cultural preservation, or youth empowerment, Every action contributes to the larger movement of ensuring that the Tibetan identity remains alive and thriving. To my peers and friends, to the younger generation present here today, we are the future of our movement. Your energy, creativity, and unwavering dedication will carry our struggle forward. Learn from those who came before us, but don't be afraid to reimagine how we can advocate for Tibet in today's world. Stand proudly in your Tibetan identity and let your voice be heard.
We must recognize that the struggle for Tibet is not just a historical event. It is an ongoing journey. As we stand here today, countless Tibetans inside Tibet continue to face repression, loss of basic freedoms, and the erosion of their language, religion, and way of life. It is our collective responsibility to amplify their voices and advocate for peaceful resolution through the middle way approach, or known as Umaylam, a path rooted in dialogue, reconciliation, and mutual respect, initiated by His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama. This day is a reminder of the power of unity. The Tibetan cause is not only the fight of one people, it is a global call for justice, human rights, and freedom. Every one of us, whether inside Tibet or in the diaspora, has a role to play. Our small actions, whether speaking out, attending events within our community, or educating others, contribute to the greater struggle for free and just Tibet. On behalf of Youth for Umaylam, we express our deepest gratitude to all those who continue to support the Tibetan cause. As we commemorate this historic day, let us renew our commitment to truth, nonviolence, and the unwavering pursuit of self-determination for Tibetans inside Tibet. May our collective efforts bring hope, unity, and a brighter future for Tibet. Thank you.
Umaylam gi sani Umaylam gi shini tunzo gi gile nabani le ya tuji che shogi DJ le ya sani Dhokham Chushi Gangdruk gi chozo tashtawala ne sunje naruna shogi. Next we have a statement from President Tashdawala from Minnesota Chushi Gangdruk.
Oh. Dini yang tsube lo tuchura do gongla chidong gujang ngachung argulo chinda sube tsechula kap didugi sumju ge lanteng dambo nangke yaje pao pamunamki makor talangane rangi yakap da miriki chedu ranso lodan nawadela zedenda Yana mabe shungi, pesayon zojen, chochine, milo tuchura dukobe, rengi nimode, bemishiki bechane, raran soso, tatu babe, lenge di hako betone. Dao yana mabe shung, himbe she betone, nangu nyokta, chura chila gomato betone, pe kyagata mediki chet, tulam doza chidi, Chegude, Pemi Yondo, Lenge Shigremado, Shesula, Kayoksami, Neresonza, Yanamabe Shungi, Pe de Wu Kamsumdu, Seneda, Tuzu Tawa, Tale Debre, Pegi Cheda Rikshun, Keiso, Same, Sado, Tanda Tanshimpade. Pögi mirik de yarikla juwa tabda dedi pödi gyade sojuso tana pemirik de zambuling de to tonya mebe sichu nyebaji tonda donshimbe inaya chino gonsa kemko chempo cho kadi tuje kadi da zeden la tene anjo chenjo nala milo tujura du chinya pemirik 탑즈디 나시 마냠바네요 데네 간주 시지 베미 게 Shun Barsubki, Pö Gagap di, Rawalaso Majum Bardo, Zamling Gagap, Kajit Toyinada, Kogap Kanjula, Pödön, Chigdida, Debe, Deja Ranchoso, Chijun, Pöna Shige, Pemizo, Ni Koja, Semikyoba, Ganye Yonaya, Tadu Semshu Machabe, Pödöndü. Tolan dosa chidi nani de yudu. Tade nganzo jeju na yupe pemiso. Tolan dosa chidi chene ka pata de. Jawo gena shunla ngugo chegyu de nganzo tsabe ki lenge de. Dishune de injila tsikashe chikshushana samsarwa. Dear brothers and sisters, today I stand before you to speak about a crucial issue that affects every Tibetan in exile. The Chinese government's persistent attempt to divide us. For the past 66 years, since the People's Republic of China forcefully occupied Tibet in 1959, they have tried various strategies to break our unity, weaken our movement, and erase our identity. But no matter how much they try, they cannot destroy our spirit or our commitment for the cause of Tibet. The Chinese government is not only trying to manipulate Tibetan inside Tibet, but they're also working to create division among us in exile. They use tactics such as misinformation and infiltration of our communities to spread doubt and mistrust. Their goal is simple: to weaken our strength by turning us against each other. We cannot fall into this trap. We must remember that our struggle is not against each other. It is against oppression, the systematic destruction of our culture, religion, language, and our identity. Another major strategy of Chinese government is their attempt to control the legacy of His Holiness the Dalai Lama. They want to dictate the future of Tibetan Buddhism, including the selection of the next Dalai Lama. This is an insult to our spiritual tradition and a direct attack to our identity. But we must stand firm. We must continue to follow the vision of His Holiness, which is based on unity, non-violence, and the preservation of our culture. Inside Tibet, despite decades of Chinese rule, our brothers and sisters are remaining strong. They continue to resist, and their faith in His Holiness has never wavered. Even until the brutal operation, Tibetan inside Tibet remains united, waiting for the day His Holiness returns to the land of snow. Their unity and their courage, for that they showed during the earthquake in Dhokham on January 7, 2025, should serve as an inspiration for us in exile. If they, under such hardship, can remain united, then we in exile who enjoy freedom must do the same. The future of Tibet depends on our unity. We cannot afford to be divided by regionalism, religionism, and our personal differences. Our greatest strength is our collective voice, our shared determination, and our commitment to the truth. His Holiness has always emphasized the importance of our unity among Tibetans, and it is our responsibility to uphold that vision. So my dear brothers and sisters, let us stand together today. Let us support one another, and let us move forward as one people of one goal: the freedom of Tibet and the return of His Holiness to his rightful home in Lhasa, Tibet. Phe gyalo, phe rangze gyalo. Yawa tenzi gyazu kuze tilo ne tilo tembasho. Thank you.
Sunday Dhokham Chushi Gangdruk Chozo Dawala ya Tuji Shugi. Dijele ya Sunday U-Tsang Cholkha gi Chozo Tashnimalalia Sunjish Naruna Shugi. Next we have a statement from the president of the Minnesota U-Tsang Cholkha.
Shisro. Ta lo sumjuringa sumjur tude ta de machebudo cheche jadenyenji. Namju dawo ina ta chik sumjur tude kapsu namchi thamora che ane namchi lakye che chik proba yungye tes yunyu do chi yungge ta ko namchi la kakuye do jorwa a dri do ina namchi hansa ya bordo ngone china da Minnesota State ki negon tang ki DJ nang sha de la de ngone china sumju tude de la negon tang go do gomba shu go do ngani ngeni chik 30 do che che ngone china phe go war wa de ta imbana ngaranzo do samro tang bai na nga do ina phuni gyaju khajik na la chodo jam le jong ga yi phenje phuni phela kebe ge ta mi du dang de kon do do mangbo de dong chi de la de tang zo one china langye gi simshu do ji ya ki che langye du la pa do gongsa chone ta gonglo to bo ji pe de yore ani ta ngzu ma chen su chore marwe one china chi 드링기 니모델다 프로파 바디블 마숑에 도지 고아랑 아주 프로파 미네소타라 동다 나투 예베게자레 다 용년 듣고도 도비 베소라지 빠라빠라랑 아주 프로파조 태갸베 소라 차도도와 나마 자갈레 예베가소 다지 군종 도지 자야마도 개요마다 아릴레베 렙체 네 소소 레갈라 고양 강바 AC 당 히트 요살라 제체 깁샹 치니 대유베 소라지 차도도 하다. 그때서 이 천나 체르베기 두저래샤. 정보시나. 남규도 지나가 되게 계제셔라. 셰 신기메 셰뇽메 숨주 두전도 본달라. 다 이번에 초백이 국갑 지나래. 아니 때주지 마셔베나 마티바로 지래샤. 그래서 딜라드 아니 공사 쪽에 동도를 붙여 sol라 그자 단체 아니게 다 이지기 돌아 가셔지 수조지 On behalf of the Minnesota U-Tsang Cholkha, we would like to begin with paying my deepest respect to His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, the heart and soul of Tibetan people. We also like to pay our respect to the Tibetan countrymen and women who have given their life for Tibet, in particular the Tibetan men and women who have self-immolated for our cause. We pay our deepest prayer for Tibetans who have passed away from the earthquake that struck in Tingri in January. With the statement of the Kasha already been delivered, I have nothing more to add except the following points. For the Tibetan inside our homeland who remain under Chinese occupation, do not lose hope. Those of us in exile continue to fight for our people and will never forget the difficulties you face. For the Tibetan in exile, we stress the importance of standing united for our cause. Our struggle is a struggle for freedom and justice. We can't be distracted by unnecessary internal arguments or issues. Unity is our greatest weapon, and I stress the importance of Tibetan from all regions of Tibet to stand united in our struggle for justice. It is inspiring to see our young Tibetans being active and involved, from joining organizations and initiating solo activities. But it is also important for the Tibetan youth to learn to speak, read, and write Tibetan. As we have seen from recent development inside Tibet, young children have been taken from their families and forced to attend Chinese boarding schools where Tibetans is treated as an afterthought. Therefore, it is particularly important for our new generation of Tibetans to pay attention to our culture, language, and tradition that have been and continue to be under attack. In conclusion, long live His Holiness the 14th Dalai Lama, the heart and soul of Tibetan people, the spiritual guide and teacher for millions around the world. May the day he returned to Potala Palace come quickly, and may the day the Tibetan from Tibet and in exile unified come swiftly. Thank you all. Purjalo! 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 Purjalo!
Sane idan choge chozo tashi malal tu che shugi chidang gi zerim nalo li ya chozo tumi gi tamshi ge de tada chozo tumi tada pheto maso andi gi arazo de sane gi chope ge ne shenge li ya doshi ni tamshi ji shayu digi shenge tizi domala le doshi tamshi nalo na shugi tizi domala
Tokmar tering ne peri chithuin chokpe chap shu ne sumju tijeng ki kola chik khashi ju shu chobo shu tering ki nimo di ke chenpo yin be nga chu phemi changme khense re yine ya nge logi thundu ju shu gi jilo chikong gubya ngap chu ngagu dawa sumpe che chu nin phe ki gesal hasala gyami gi phemi tong tha mangbo ma se tangware Jana ki phe chen chene tering lo tukjure tu doe nangla gyami marbe phemi mangpo na che tangwa ma se gomba khan tor wa tha phemi rawa thok pare longo tukjure tu ring phemi nam ki kempe tha pheten tho lenke khene thanda phartu sumju tuje sungji shupa nangshi nga cho muthu ne nam yang themba je mesi Tade Chino Konsa Jamgu Chembucho, Guti Tilo Tebata, Yopo Pela Petube, Nere Wata, Melam, Shuki, Tujiche. Any Ne Inkin and Mazushengi Rewaji Shucho. First of all, I would like to thank everyone for joining us today for the 66th Tibetan Uprising Day. As I reflect on the importance of today, I find myself thinking of a special person, my late grandfather, Lobsan Tashi. To the 10-year-old little me, he was just Popo. But to the 21-year-old me now, he is the symbol of resilience, strength, and hope. His courage reminds me why this day is so important. He escaped from Tibet at the age of 26, a journey marked by loss, immense pain, and uncertainty. Yet, despite the suffering of the past, he remained determined. He held onto his culture, his faith, and his hope until his dying breath. But the journey of hope does not end there. It lives on in us, a flame passed down so that we never forget where we come from. Today, as we remember Tibetan Uprising Day, I honor him, and I honor all the elders in our community. Not just for the hardships they endured, but for never losing hope. I refuse to let our history become a whisper of the past. Their legacy must live on. So to the youth today, let us remember that the struggle for freedom, justice, and cultural preservation is not just a story of the past. It is a fight that continues today. It's time for our generation to stand up. Tibetan Uprising Day is not just history. It's a wake-up call, a call to defend our culture and to fight for justice. As young Tibetan Americans, we have the power to amplify the voices of our brothers and sisters in Tibet and to ensure that the world does not forget. Our grandparents and parents and the elders of our communities have resisted for decades, refusing to be silenced. Will you choose to stay silent while our brothers and sisters in Tibet are forced to stay silent? Will you let the struggles of our grandparents be forgotten? Will you stand by while their hopes and dreams fade? No, now is the time to educate yourself, to speak up, and to unite and to take action. The world changes when young people rise. So rise for our country, rise for our freedom, and rise for our people. The time is now. Step forward and lead the change. Free Tibet. Pegelo.
Domala tuji shugi and ngarazo shugi and gochi tenzi konjo haderalia dosi babshe alma shugi sobengeni shugi nilia dosi ni pyechi babshe.
Desile and good morning. My name is Tenzil Hadra, and on behalf of Chafam and Lamte, I want to express my gratitude to each of you for being here today as we come together to honor and reflect on the significance of March 10th. This day marks the 66th anniversary of the 1959 Tibetan Uprising, when Tibetans in Lhasa rose up against Chinese occupation only to face brutal repression. It is a day of remembrance and mourning, but also a day of resilience. As we reflect on the struggles of our past and the challenges that lie ahead, we take this time to recognize how these experiences continue to shape our present and guide our future. When the earthquake struck Tingri, my heart sank. To me, Tingri was not just a city on a map. It was the birthplace of my grandparents. They used to walk those roads as children, paths that are now cracked and broken, roads that no longer exist. When I saw the pictures and videos, I cried for days. I couldn't help but picture them there, running, playing, growing up on that very land. To know that those same roads, the villages and homes were turned into rubble and the people devastated, having lost almost everything, it was heartbreaking. But in that heartbreak, I also saw the resilience of our people. I saw the way Tibetans from all regions came together, supporting each other through loss and rebuilding what was broken. It reminded me that no matter the distance, no matter the circumstances, our connection to our homeland and to each other remains unshaken. And that is why supporting our community in both good times and bad is so important. This experience also deepened my appreciation for how diverse our community can be, not just in culture, but also in thought. We may not always agree on every matter, but our shared heritage and common purpose bind us together. It is crucial to honor that unity, especially when faced with adversity. We also mourn the passing of a great figure in Tibetan history, Jalud Hindubla. His contributions were immeasurable. He dedicated his life to the well-being and future of Tibet, and his legacy will continue to inspire generations to come. We will always remember the invaluable work he did for our people, and while he is no longer with us, his spirit and his vision will live on. And finally, this past year, Minnesota Tibetans have faced many challenges. We've lost many community members, some too soon, and some having left legacies. We've also been tested in ways that we never expected. But through it all, we've remained strong and come together as a community to support one another through grief and hardship, just as we always do. As we stand here today, united by our shared history and our dreams for the future, let us remember the strength we draw from each other. Let us continue to carry forward the legacy of those who fought for our freedom and those who are no longer with us. One world, one dream, free Tibet.
Thank you, Ladala. It is now my privilege to introduce today's guest, Minnesota Senator Eric Pratt, who proudly serves District 54, which includes, to name a few, Shakopee, Burnsville, and Lakeville, which is home to many Tibetan Americans. Senator Pratt has dedicated much of his career to serving the people of Minnesota and is a strong advocate for human rights. He also serves as a legislative member of the Council on Asian Pacific Minnesotans. We are so very thankful for the Senator's continued support for Tibet and the Minnesota Tibetan community's aspirations for justice and human rights inside Tibet. So please join me in warmly welcoming Senator Eric Pratt to share a few remarks.
Well, thank you. We have a beautiful day to be out here today. It's really an honor to be with you to commemorate the brave souls who resisted the Chinese occupation 66 years ago today. On March 10th, 1959, tens of thousands of Tibetans took to the streets of Lhasa rising up against the Chinese illegal invasion of your homeland. Thousands were killed when Chinese soldiers opened fire, but the Tibetans refused to surrender. And many hundreds worked to save the life of the Dalai Lama, helping him to exile the country where he could continue to lead your people and advocate for you. Minnesota supports the Tibetan community. We join you in condemning the communist oppression of your identity, your culture, and your religion. We stand with you in demanding basic human rights for a free and democratic Tibet. And I want to commend the Dalai Lama's commitment to nonviolence and seeking a peaceful resolution for you and your people. So with this, please know that we in the Minnesota legislature support you in commemorating today is a very important day for you. And have a wonderful day. And please go in peace. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Senator Pratt. And sorry, I'd like to quickly pause for a moment to invite up our speakers from today, the different organizations, for a quick photo with Senator Pratt. So, Regional Tibetan Youth Congress, if you could please come up, Students for Free Tibet, Chushi Gangdruk, U-Tsang Cholkha, and Students for Free Tibet. Oh, and Regional Tibetan Women's Association. If you could please come up, we'll take a quick photo before we wrap up this session of our event. And I'd also like to acknowledge that today at the 66th commemoration of Tibetan National Uprising Day, we had a handful of local media come by. So we'd like to thank all the media members for covering the 66th commemoration of Tibetan National Uprising Day.
Thank you, Senator Eric Pratt. DJ de la ane kombe majo kon le ya nganzo mima yone taringi tujingi mima langlo chi do che bingi shu samalo kusha na lo na oda
long so pe bina zamli mi ma nga twe kam do long so ye be bang bo ji zamli mi ma nga twe kam do long so ye be bang bo ji pen jo da ge kyo Tenge gama bede tate tongi Geche mi malong sho Hegalo, 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 Hegalo. Premier, le monde basso, Québec a tout compris. Des mots machins na joué, des rings en jeu de, sommes tous les gagnants, moi, et ça, ni qui est comme maman Jarona. Ça des gens logiques, la thème du match, je m'arrête, ni à, ça des gens en Québec, y a c'est, malade na, nangmi nang deux, y aurait peu nang la, Québec, y a ça va être la gamme, mangmi chungi, ce qu'on a l'ouche, moi je peux répondre à Marseille tangi, y aurait des sons à des rings, qui est champion à Cheshire, Jarona sans jouer. Long live! Long live! Long live! Release, release! Release, release! Long live! Chinese life! Chinese life! Long live! Stop the killing! Stop the killing! Stop the murder! Stop the torture! Long live! Long live! United Nations!
We want justice!
United Nations!
We want justice!
Tibet belongs to!
Tibetans!
Tibet belongs to!
Tibetans!
Purgi Dogbo! Purgi Dogbo! Gyaram Buche! Kutse Shabetin Basho! Gyaram Buche! Gyaram Buche! Long live! Long live! Release, release! Release, release! United Nations!
We want justice!
United Nations!
We want justice!
Stop the killing!
In Tibet!
Stop the torture!
In Tibet!
Stop the killing!
In Tibet!
Stop the torture!
In Tibet!
Last one, thinking of Tandis and Village in the Tay.
United Nations!
United Nations! Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Long live! United Nations!
We want justice!
United Nations! Purgi Dogbo! Purgi Dogbo! Long live! Long live! One dream!
Tibet, free Tibet!
One dream!
Free Tibet, free Tibet!
Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Shame, shame!
China shame!
Chinese government shame! Shame, shame!
Chinese government shame!
Shame, shame!
Chinese government shame!
One world, one dream!
Free Tibet, free Tibet!
One world, one dream!
Free Tibet, free Tibet!
Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Release, release!
Pension Lama!
Release, release!
Pension Lama!
Release, release!
Pension Lama!
Release, release!
Pension Lama!
Long live!
Dalai Lama!
Long live!
Dalai Lama!
United Nations!
We want justice!
United Nations!
We want justice!
Purgi Dogbo!
Bring me in!
Purgi Dogbo!
Bring me in!
Tibet belongs to!
Tibetans!
Tibet belongs to!
Tibetans!
United Nations!
We want justice!
United Nations!
We want justice!
Stop the killing!
In Tibet!
Stop the genocide!
In Tibet!
Stop the killing!
In Tibet!
Dalai Lama!
Dalai Lama! We want justice! In Tibet! In Tibet! China shame! Shame, shame. Tibet belongs to. Tibet belongs to. China, China, China. Out, out, out. China, China, China. Out, out, out. Free Tibet, free Tibet. 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 Tibet belongs to. Tibetans. Tibet belongs to. Tibetans. Tibet belongs to. Tibetans. Long live. Dalai Lama. Long live. Dalai Lama. Long live. Dalai Lama. Long live. Dalai Lama. Out, out, out. Out, out, out. Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Free Tibet! Shame, shame! Chinese government shame! Government shame! Shame, shame! Chinese government shame! Shame, shame! Chinese government shame! Shame, shame! Chinese government shame! Human rights! Human rights! Freedom of media! Freedom of media! In Tibet! In Tibet! Dalai Lama! Dalai Lama! Tibet belongs to Tibetan. Tibet belongs to Tibetan. Long live Dalai Lama. Long live Dalai Lama. United Nations, we want justice. United Nations, we want justice. Shame, shame. Chinese government. Shame, shame. Chinese government. One world, one dream. Free Tibet, free Tibet. One world, one dream. Free Tibet, free Tibet. Long live Dalai Lama. Long live Dalai Lama. Long live Dalai Lama. Long live Dalai Lama. United Nations, we want justice. United Nations, we want justice. What do we want? Justice. Shame, shame. Chinese government. Shame, shame. Chinese government. One world, one dream. Free Tibet, free Tibet. One world, one dream. Free Tibet, free Tibet.
Tibet belongs to human rights. Human rights. Stop the killing. China, China, China. China out of Tibet now.
Long live Dalai Lama. Long live
Long live
Dalai Lama.
Long live
Dalai Lama.
Tibet belongs to
Tibetan.
Tibet belongs to
Tibetan.
Human rights
In Tibet.
Human rights
In Tibet.
Stop the killing
In Tibet.
Stop the killing
In Tibet.
Stop the torture
In Tibet.
Stop the torture
In Tibet.
United Nations.
We want justice.
United Nations.
We want justice.
China, China, China.
Out, out, out.
China, China, China.
Out, out, out.
China out of Tibet now.
China out of Tibet now.
Long live
Dalai Lama.
Long live
Dalai Lama.
Tibet belongs to Tibet belongs to human rights. Human rights. Stop the killing. Stop the killing. Stop the torture. Stop the torture. United Nations. United Nations. China, China, China. Out, out, out. China, China, China. Out, out, out. China out of Tibet now. China out of Tibet now.
Mima Samalo, Arzo, Sama Rus Narona, Adu Gave Shabramji, Song Dijel Yadinzi Melamji, Songan Deche, Adutari, Zegegi.
Memapi, Suja Shesa de Union number 2 Penaroj, Tambo Rus Chinada. That you do Shara May and Kang Jonjogi, Zerim Zego Judam Shui, then Kote Misha Kegan of the Jishin, the Washington, Jinde Zole, Kangi, Chodo, Showa, Namja, no bread, Same Mayo, Goza, Gave, Bonteson, Bishija, Sono, Taja, the Shetape, Sundena, Kanja, Gombo, Tinzi, Gazo, Kote Misha Kegan of the Jishin, the Washington, Sebe Tombo, Jamla Chivave, Tede Mazon, Nanda Doje Tane, Misha, Vandra, Pabe, Gede, Tamche, Aja Dosho, Tape, Sundena, Kanja, Gombo, Tinzi, Gazo, Kote Misha, Gagan of Denje, Shende, Lunga, Dubai, Shinjo, Kanshi, Shinzo, David, Todin, Dedo, Nyamjaro, Senjo, Nyamjo, Lanzo, Dela, Tanze, Nezo, Bo, Kande, Sona, Taja, Dosho, Tape, Sundena, Kanja, Gombo, Tinzi, Gazo, Kote Misha,
Shwa
Soro Chishugi, Kisnubla. Dimache, Chapda, Soja to the Yore, Chapda Dukanzala Bodol, the Kini Peron Ashe.
Tomato Kuba Tondur Bajal, Kujango, the Tambato, Tiri, Digger, Shabcha, Taksham Juguda, Gundugumbe, Gunduba, Tishigi, Azugi, Mima, Geshu, Parsum, Sangmalola, Mude, Tiri, Mima, Dela, Chik Susu, Gergi Kurlanche, De Shabcha de la Sangmalola, Dugi or Ning Tabane Tuchena Shui. Antishigi, Chingazugi, so Tuche Shusadi, Chinga Sobanabata, Tishigi, and Nazugi, Tendegi, Ki Sojada, Shedogi, Jindadige, U-Tsang Cholkha, and this on the U-Tsang Cholkha Ning Tabane Tuche na Shui, and Tishigi, Nazugi, Tirigi sound system, Dige Talagi, Chik Nazugi. Kumbe Rangola Chagiore, Kumbe Rangola Korali, and Ning Tabane Tuchena Shui, and Tida Tishigi, and Azugi, Tiri Tuche Shusachi, Marazugi, Chidu Sobegi, Parpa, Chimiam and Ning Tabane Tuchena Shui, Tati Shingi, Mazukula, to unit, one and only Doji Chagiore, mixing Ning Tabane Tuchena Shui. Anti Dishingi, Maju Mimasogi, Kurlango, the Sobo de Cardo Sheva Regina, Tiri Mima Gerla Sunzi Shiguedi, Tema Maju Gerab, Ki Lugula Chung Shavaji Sonza, Dinga Tabju Shiguedi, Hajagi, Isonzani, Mazugi, Mirab Juju Chevala, Mazugi, Mirab Shungi, the Gesar, Sojo Chiguedi, Hajagi, Isonza. Tiri yegi mixegi tuche shusadi, tiri ki shungegi tamsheba chiola nye chidu sobe sab shude, ning takbane tuche na shueyi. Tu shungi digi rara susu kurlang che, ta tende devuji na sumchu tudegi tamshedi, tasha chage chizo songsa tab devuda yugir de copy paste chiela. Ine dige dichik chokti chiela shimchu machiwala, dige dichik mapap tusa yomare. Copy paste Chibuji Chiwasam Digi Omar, Susu Rara Susu Gichik, research, Popola Tiguanity, Momola Tiguanity, Palal Tiguanity, Amal Tiguanity, Susuki, Kamaki Tamshedi, Chirana Susu Kurlani, Tiki Wadela, Ye, Chidis of Best. Tidishigan Azugi, Mid Nabuji Mare. Mazugi Tozudi, Chigi, Judia de Mare, Miram Yigi, Miram Negood, Jawarbuche Suwe, Yadashi Segi, the Sugu or the Jawarbuche Yang City Pet, Mazu Lumbasila, Yugi, Marshall, and 13 Angur. This is what is a Kolo Teva so Tenga, Lake you get there, Mazu Tapsu Mid Roll Jew Diggers Landing. This was a Mazu Mutuni, Shinge Sojo Chiguadi, Hajak Chibujire. This was a Pama Tutu pama choine susu phutu dige la nebar do ngaju ki phyogi gerab luju kei dige muthu ni chik sojo je che do chik lamdu chi goya da dige muthu na shue yi ani thadyon de la gaur muje da antu tada Mindu shuyu, los tujena, pegalo, 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 tujena.